So I know, another video bashing Tesla. However, I promise, I don't want this video to just become another, well, they don't have engines. There are legitimately large issues with the company and the vehicles they produce. And at the risk of getting sued into oblivion as the guys over at Top Gear found out the hard way, I'm gonna keep it restrained while making my points clear. So let's start with some quick rapid fire issues with the company. First and foremost, Elon Musk is not the founder of Tesla, no matter what he may say. He bought it from these two guys back in 2004 and is trying to make it into a clean energy company, or so he claims. See, Tesla sells these things called carbon credits, which, to boil down to 5th grade levels of basic terms, it allows other companies to pollute more if they pay enough money. He has found a way to legitimately monetize unnecessary pollution. He also tried lobbying cities and municipalities to let him build tunnels that only Teslas can fit through in order to ease congestion. Now, anyone with two brain cells to rub together, so exactly 0% of Tesla fanboys, who we will touch on later, can realize there are multiple issues with this. First off, the idea of just one more lane, bro, has been tried and failed miserably. And there are already examples of this thanks to videos of people, surprise, waiting in traffic in these tunnels. Second, let me ask you a question. Say you were to have a heart attack or a stroke or some other medical emergency while waiting in said traffic. What are you gonna do?
Call an ambulance! Call an ambulance!
This is a single lane tunnel only big enough for Teslas, so things like paramedic trucks and ambulances can't reach you. So you get to die surrounded by the cheapest plastic money can buy that's wrapped in leather. Third, in case you haven't noticed, we have something like this already all over the world. It's called the subway system. But because they aren't futuristic with big screens, no one's interested in them. Now that I've got that out of the way, let's get more to the car side of things. First off, these Plaid performance vehicles are quick. There is no denying that. However, if you're an actual enthusiast and not some Elon fanboy who would drop to his knees to please his master if it meant getting the new Tesla update a week early, you start to notice quite quickly that these Plaid models are nothing more than gimmicky Halo cars. Sure, if you do one launch at the drag strip and call it a day, this is an amazing car. But in order to launch, you need to activate cheetah mode, and I kid you not, it takes 15 minutes for cheetah mode to be done with so you can launch, which is just beyond ridiculous. Last time I checked, it doesn't take a gas car 15 minutes to launch. However, it gets worse, as when you start to put the car through its paces, whether it be at a drag strip or a track or wherever else, a phenomenon called heat soaking occurs, which is basically when the system overheats and cuts power massively. And yes, while this is certainly a phenomenon in ICE vehicles as well, heat soaking in Tesla models is such a common issue, even Elon's army admits to it in their cute little circle jerk forums. You could have 1,000,000 horsepower and go 0 to 60 at warp speed. That doesn't matter when you can't use it for more than 2 or 3 laps. All of this is compounded on top of the fact that these, like all EVs, weigh about half the weight of Mama June. So in other words, about as much as a large cruise ship. So by the time you get up to 60, you gotta slam on the brakes to get your wrecking ball on wheels to slow down to 15 to take a corner. This was proved at Pikes Peak, where basically stock Porsche 911 Turbo on street tires outqualified a heavily modified Model S Plaid on full slicks with aero by 2 seconds. Not a GT3 or a GT3 RS, a turbo. But don't fret, as these amazing vehicles get better. As you know, usually when you buy a car, you figure you get everything with it. You know, full seat, full gas pedal, and I don't know, maybe a full steering wheel. Not in these though. You get what these morons have deemed as a yoke, which is nothing more than a cost-cutting measure. Plus, there's no buttons to control anything. Everything is controlled through this massive screen or these haptic touch buttons on the steering wheel. Haptic touch buttons should tell you everything you need to know about the car, as we've learned what those lovely buttons are like in the new Golf R. I touched on this next point very briefly in my Hyundai EV video, but when I say these cars have no buttons or anything, it's to the extent that there's no controls to position the climate vents. You have to do it through the screen. Why? Only a company run by a moron as monumentally stupid as Elon would ever think of something that's brain dead. And you want to know something awful about it? Other idiotic Silicon Valley style EV companies like Rivian are following suit. Because of this, Tesla is leading the charge in corporate minimalist design for the automotive world. So your car interiors that are now a barren wasteland and more boring than a library,
What kind of place is this?
you can thank Tesla for starting that. In addition to all of that, the build quality on these things have been well documented. Now, I had the very fortunate opportunity to test a friend's father's new Model S Plaid, and the speed is ferocious. However, when I sat in the car, I was shocked not only by all the other awful things this car's interior offers, but the fact that these things are pumped full of more plastic than the Kardashians, which is saying a lot. These things have so much plastic it rivals a mid-2000s GM or Chrysler product, which for anyone who knows is a metric electric shit ton of plastic. But it's clever, because they wrap the cheapest plastic money can buy in the cheapest leather money can buy. I know, genius. It's true though. It doesn't matter if the interior is white, black, blue, yellow, green, whatever. This is some dirt cheap leather, which would be fine if these Plaid performance vehicles were 40 grand. But no, they're $105,000, beyond overpriced. But no, you guys don't get it, bro. It's okay because big screen plays Netflix and The Witcher. These vehicles are the epitome of, ooh, new shiny thing.
Ooh, shiny red ball.
Yeah, just ignore the fact that when the cars catch on fire, they can and do reignite days and literal weeks after being lit. All of this is to say is that if you buy a Tesla car as a genuine performance car, I doubt your abilities to chew gum and walk at the same time, as the only thing this vehicle has over any other performance vehicle at its price point is the 0 to 60 time. But when you do try to do one lap in one, it weighs so goddamn much that it's like trying to race a semi-truck. And that's if you make it around the first corner, because keep in mind, if you have to turn the wheel too hard to any one direction, you can't because there's only half a wheel. And then you make it around the first corner and you lose 400 horsepower because your batteries are heat soaked and you have to come back to the pits, park your car, and pray to every god that's ever existed that you don't spontaneously combust. And now, normally I would make a joke about truck guys getting their grimy little hands on one of those doorstops on wheels, slapping Salt Life stickers and squatting them, but you never will. Not because I doubt your abilities to ruin perfectly good trucks, but because Elon won't ever give you, me, or anyone else a chance to own one of these, because the damn truck was announced in 2019. Oh, but COVID played a role in it because of the supply chain issues. I call bullshit. They rolled out production of those 2 Plaid models with no problem, and they rolled out those larger, more intricate semi-trucks with no problems. Why can't they roll out these Cybertrucks? Because, as we've learned with the new Hummer EV, when you promise the specs that Elon has promised, this thing is going to weigh as much as 2 Mama Junes, with an Elon claimed, so again, take this with the biggest grain of salt possible, 800 horsepower and range of 500 miles. This is not a Miata in terms of weight. This thing is nothing more than an episode of My 600-Pound Life on Wheels. And with all the stupid gimmicks he promises like those dumb armored windows, real quick, this is the thickness of an armored window. That does not look like it's friendly to weight savings. Compound stuff on top of that, like the fact that you need thicker doors and bigger motors to roll the windows up and down, and these are going to be massively heavy, way too heavy for everyday use. And God forbid you want to use this for actual truck stuff like towing, which, hey, to be fair to Tesla, the issues of range when towing isn't unique to just the Cybertruck, but it doesn't change the fact that if you want to tow anything with this truck, your range will plummet quicker than the economy in 2008. But wait, there's more. Elon's army, which consists of 30-year-old men in loveless marriages whose wives cheat on them constantly with their personal trainers, and 14-year-old brainlets who think funny tweet equals genius, is probably attacking my comment section as we speak, saying how great their leader is. If you guys and gals ever have the unfortunate displeasure of coming across one of Elon's soldiers, just don't engage. These are the Fortnite kids of the car world, and they don't tend to understand words with more than 2 syllables. If I can get serious for a minute, I think the main reason why I and a lot of other people overall hold a strong disliking towards EVs is because of what they stand for. Now, I'm going to try and cover this next section without stepping on too many political landmines, but understand that that's next to impossible. So I want to make it crystally and abundantly clear. I am not endorsing one side or the other, and if you start a comment war defending one or the other, you're no smarter or better than Elon's army. With that being said, these EVs represent everything wrong in a modern society. We, as a consuming public in the United States, don't even make a dent in terms of overall climate change compared to just 100 companies, which are responsible for 70% of the world's carbon emissions. Yes, 70. Meanwhile, we are told by people in power all over the world that it's our fault, and we, the people who are finding it harder and harder to afford rent and are getting paid less and less, are being told to foot the bill for climate change, when those same 100 corporations report record profits quarter after quarter. Make of that what you will. I'm not going any further than that. I don't want to start a political hellscape in my comment section. The point is that if the government actually cared about its citizens' carbon emissions, we would have switched to biofuels, hydrogen vehicles, and nuclear energy 10 years ago and be totally fine. But the harsh reality is that it just isn't the case, and that's exactly what these Teslas, Rivians, Lucids, and more represent.